What if I told you there are more than 3.4 million hidden treasures scattered across 191 countries, hidden in bustling cities, atop mountain peaks, beside ancient castles, deep in the forest, and even in the middle of some of the world's busiest airports? No, this isn't the plot of an Indiana Jones movie. It's called geocaching. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't, but it is a hobby that has sent us and millions of other people on adventures they never expected. Whether you're exploring your own hometown or standing in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower, geocaching has a remarkable way of leading you off the beaten path and into some unforgettable experiences. Joining us today is someone famous in the geocaching world and a very good friend of ours. It's Josh, the geocaching vlogger. We're going to talk all about hidden caches, incredible discoveries, unexpected friendships, prime-time TV show competition opportunities, and why this simple little hobby has inspired people to explore the world in a completely different way. So grab your GPS, or these days, really all you need is your phone, and come along with us. You never know where the next cache or the next great story might be hiding.
Wheels up!
We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Welcome to the Me and Her Travel Podcast, episode number 42. And yes, this episode is the answer to all the questions of the universe. Today, Julie and I are welcoming our fellow Minnesotan and good friend Josh.
Hey, good to be here. I'm a listener of the podcast, and now I'm on the podcast. I'm so excited to be here.
So Josh is quite famous in the geocaching world, as we said, and is known as the geocaching vlogger. I've known him way back since he was a different name. Maybe he'll share with that. He has a huge following on his popular YouTube channel with over 2,300 videos. That is a lot, as well as on all the other socials. And Josh also has a great podcast called Treasures of Our Town. Basically, he took a hobby that he loved, like we do, and turned it into an exciting venture. So, this is how we all got, we were going to find out how he got started, how we all got started in geocaching, and how we met up. So, Josh, you're the professional. Why don't you explain to our listeners what exactly geocaching is?
Oh my gosh. First of all, the intro of this podcast made it sound like this is going to be a really exciting podcast. I'm really excited to record this because I think geocaching is amazing and cool. You think it's amazing and cool. So just laying that all out, I'm excited to talk to you all about it. But yeah, basically geocaching is a worldwide scavenger hunt game. People use GPS technology to find hidden caches. You call them treasures. Some people call it a scavenger hunt. And it's all over the world. And it brings you to the most amazing places and uses your mind, your body, takes you on some great adventures in the woods, in urban places, all over the world. And it's exciting. And can you believe it? It's been around 26 years. It's amazing that people are like, I've never even heard of that before. It's like, it's been around for a long time. And it's just as strong and as amazing as ever.
So you can find geocaches by now. It's you have an app on your phone. Any kind of phone has it. You can get the app. It's from geocaching.com, and that's how we do it now. But we used to use GPSs, and there's different ways of. The first thing you do when you get on there, you got to come up with a name. Don't bypass this. A lot of people join and they make a name, and then all of a sudden, later on, they're like, I really didn't like that name. So. Josh had a good one way back in the day.
Yes.
Can you share?
Yes, my old geocaching name was Mayberry Man because of my love for the old Andy Griffith Show, or my dad's love for the Andy Griffith Show. We enjoyed it together. So yeah, I was Mayberry Man.
And that's when we met, was when you were back when you were the Mayberry Man. And we were the Gilby Three, which was a name and an ode to our three people in our family. But now we are the Gilby Four since adoption of our daughter. So now we had to change our name to the Gilby Four. So we've changed our name just like you. So the next thing is, we what are caches and how are they? So they could be as small as, a thumbnail or a pinky nail. Yeah. Or they could be the size of a full-blown chest out in the forest, open up a full-size treasure chest.
I mean, I found ones that are the size of a whole building.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean,
the container was a building.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, I found that
and
thing
then
as well.
There's different. Then when you're on the app, a very important thing is, hey, how are you going to find them? Are they difficult to find? There's difficulty and there's terrain.
Yes.
So Josh, explain a little bit about that.
Basically, the difficulty is when you get to the location of the geocache, is how hard is it to actually find it when you're there?
And it's on a rating of
1 to 5. So it's a star rating. 1 would be it's very easy.
You can maybe even see it.
Yeah, maybe hidden in plain sight. Although hidden in plain sight can sometimes be tough too, if it's cleverly disguised. And then terrain rating would mean how difficult is it to get to the geocache. So if it was a 1 terrain, it would be wheelchair accessible. If it's a 5 terrain, that means you need special equipment like climbing materials or a boat or something like that.
And Josh, what's my favorite terrain?
I would say probably 5.
Yeah.
I've seen Tony climb many a tree, and that actually would be a 4 because you don't necessarily need special equipment unless you need a ladder. So,
But sometimes there are like pulley systems in the trees. I mean, they can get quite complicated and very exciting.
Josh, there was one that was a 5
yes,
for climbing because you need a ladder.
right.
I didn't need a ladder. I mean, I shimmied up a telephone pole all by hand.
Wow. So it wasn't
That's
5 for Gilby. It wasn't 5 for Tony.
That's right.
Or Ozzy from Survivor.
Correct.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so going back, I don't know, our family's been doing this 20 years ago.
21 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
because our oldest daughter is 23 and we started when she was 2.5 years old. And when we first got started, it was just a great way for us to get out of the house, get into nature, go for a hike. But how do you get a 2-year-old to go on a hike? You say, oh, there's a hidden treasure.
Yes.
And then she was like, what? So then we could get her to follow down the trail with us a little bit. And she was even more excited when she found it. And then inside the cache, there was basically trinkets in there. And it's kind of the strategy of take one, leave one. And a lot of times back then it was like McDonald's choice.
Right.
So no big deal. But she thought that was very, very fun.
And a lot of people are like, well, geocaching, what do you get? Cash? You get cash money? Yeah. And really, it's more about the thrill of the hunt. Yes, there are sometimes some things that you can trade inside of it, but it's more about the thrill of the hunt, the thrill of finding it. And, yeah.
That's a great point, by the way, because we take for granted a lot of the terms and stuff that we're talking about. Geocaching. So geo, earth, out in nature, finding something. Cache, C-A-C-H-E.
Yes.
So geocaching is finding a hidden treasure cache, not a finding dollar bills. Although we have done that.
Yes, I've found some money in caches or near money or near caches before.
There was one time in Hawaii when we were caching and we were just behind somebody who was leaving $100 bills.
Oh my gosh.
And so
All over Hawaii.
So the next
What?
person who got there could take it, but we were just behind the person who found the $100 bill.
Twice.
And they're like, thanks for the cash. Like literally C-A-S-H. We're like, what? We missed it.
Wow.
But that's unusual.
That was almost 20 years ago, too, and that was a famous cacher back in the day that was just rich, and he was like, I'm going to hide $100 bills. So
I love that.
yeah. So, okay, so a funny observation about our first, I've been asking people, long-term geocachers, do you remember your first geocache? And that, funny thing is, we might have thousands of finds, but people that can't remember one from 2 weeks ago.
Right.
A name and where it was or whatnot, but they can remember their first cache vividly. I remember ours because we took our daughter down this trail. We told her we were going geocaching. She knew it was about treasure hunting. It was 4 turtles and 1 rock, and it was by Dances with Beehives was the name of his geocaching name.
Yes.
Great name. Great name. He changed it later on, but so that one rings a bell also because our daughter, when she was going down the trail, she would be singing, I'm going geocaching, I'm going geocaching. And she sang it for weeks. Like every time we went out with her, she was singing that on the trail.
It's adorable.
That was the very first experience.
That's
What was
awesome.
yours? Josh, do you remember yours?
Yes, I do. I actually started 18 years ago. So I started with the Garmin yellow handheld GPS. I got it on Amazon for a Father's Day gift to myself because I thought it would be a great thing to do with the kids.
Right.
So
And it still is.
Yes, it is. It got sent to me at work, and that back in the day, you had to manually enter the coordinates off the
so much hard
website.
work.
Yes, and it was literally across the street. It was called Civics 101. It was right by the Burnsville Civic Center, and it was a bigger box. I'm so glad my first geocache was not like some little tiny thing. It was actually a proper bigger box, and I opened it, and I don't know. The first time you actually find it, you're just like have this like eureka moment, like. I drive by this park every single day, and I never knew there was this whole world, this sort of treasure there. And the fun fact is that geocache is over 20 years old, and it's still there. And the owners recently got out of geocaching, so I actually adopted it. So I now own the very first cache that I ever found, which is kind of cool.
That's very cool. So you said you've been doing this for 18 years, and I've been sitting here when knowing that we're going to do this interview, thinking like, God, Josh and I go way back. How long has it been? First of all, how long have you been vlogging and doing videos?
This
is gonna help me. This is gonna help me.
2011, so it would be a little over 15 years. 15 years of
Okay,
vlogging.
so I know that you and I were friends before that.
Oh, yes.
Because when you started doing your videos, I remember when you brought out your camera on the trail and you were doing videos and stuff
Yeah.
like, what is this guy doing now? What's my buddy doing now? Like he's going to start filming all this stuff. And I thought you were kind of crazy. What are you doing? What's the content? Why? And this was way a long time ago.
Right.
So it's been at least 15, maybe 16, 17 years that we've known each other.
Yes.
Do you remember where or how we met?
I think it had to be an event, and I think my first
explain that for
memory. Yeah. So as a part of geocaching, there's this incredible community of people, and people actually host events, big events, small events, all over the world, all over the country.
How do you find out about them?
And they're actually on the geocaching website. They're marked with a little different icon. You'll see them there, and there'll be information. They're at a park. Sometimes they're at a restaurant. And I think I met you the very first time when it was at a park. It was at a Minnesota Geocaching Association event, and you stuck out to me because I think you were climbing a tree.
And what did I have on for shoes?
Probably sandals.
No.
Oh, no, you were barefoot? Were you barefoot?
Barefoot or orange Crocs, probably back in the day.
But my first memory of you was up in a tree. I think we went out and there was just as you described a tree where you had to shimmy up it. I think my first memory of you was shimmying up a tree to try to get a geocache.
I'm still the same way, but I'm older, maybe not as nimble, but I used to hide caches. And by the way, the people that hide the caches are the same people that find them. So as you get into it more, you might go out and hide a cache. You might hide something that's a film canister or what we all refer to as ammo cans, the big metal cans, which are perfect for this. Yes. And I hid a whole lot of them that were called acros, which were, fear of, acrophobia, fear of heights.
Right.
So I hid them way up in trees. So everybody in this area knows me as somebody that likes to climb trees, and I'm always like, all right, we got one in the tree. We should probably invite Gilby to come and help find this one.
The retrieval.
Right.
guy.
I got asked a lot just because I was that guy.
Yeah. I love that.
So another person that asks for your help a lot is your mother.
Right.
Because your mother has over 20,000 finds. And
wow.
That's
not
ridiculous.
to rat her out, but she is 80, and it's absolutely amazing. And it keeps her active and social, and it's very great. But so obviously geocaching is very fun. But it can also be for competition. And don't think that she's not getting those numbers for a reason. I mean, she wants to have the most in the state, or, there's all different kinds of competitions. But speaking of which, you guys have actually done some serious geocaching competitions. So why don't you explain what that's all about?
So many, many years ago, now we're going back about 15 plus years, or 14, 15 years, there's a competition called MOGA.
Yes.
And don't ask me. Do you know what the name is?
Yes, it's the Midwest Open Geocaching Adventure.
Yeah, and it's probably the biggest competition for geocaching in the world. It is it's what they call a mega event. It's very big. Hundreds, not thousands of people show up.
Yes.
And then you compete against other teams in finding a set of geocaches that they've hidden without anybody knowing where they're at. Then they give you a starting line and they say, go. And then your team of 2 or 4 or solo has to go out and find all of the caches and get back to the finish line as fast as you can.
Right.
How'd we do, Josh?
Well, I think it was 2010. I think it was maybe the first time we competed together. And I think we got second place because we had a young boy on our team, and he was out there with somebody else, and somebody lost their punch card. Do you remember that? And he helped them.
He helped
them try to find it. And because he helped them, it slowed us down.
And also, what we missed one cache because a squirrel kicked it out of the hiding spot. Now, we're going to go into some lore here. The cache was found about 30, 40 feet away from where it was supposed to be. Yeah. And only one team got to log it as a find. They found it, and then after that, the cache was missing. They found it 30, 40 feet away. So did he take it and throw it? We've been told that the bite marks and the scratch marks on it was that a squirrel took, because it was in a tree, in a spot, a squirrel took it and kicked it out of its own tree because it didn't like it there and all the people coming around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, then the following year, we're coming back. We're doing it again. It was down in southern Iowa, and we were ready to go. We had a great team.
I was training for marathons.
And there was a pond or creek or a lake. There was a lake, and at the beginning of the competition, we were thinking there's probably geocaches right across the lake.
Which is 5 miles from the starting point if you ran along the shore all the way around the lake to get back to where those caches, where the area is. We thought the competition was going to be.
Yeah, so they said go, the gun went off, and all of a sudden everybody goes in one direction, and then Tony heads right for the lake, swims across the lake. Everybody's going, where is he going? What is he doing? And
And it's March, right? It's
It was
cold.
cold.
it was cold. And you got over there and you
I
found
probably,
those
had
caches.
I probably had a half an hour
Oh
to
my
45-minute head start on everybody.
It's legendary in Moga lore. The
changed
guy
the
that swam.
They changed the rules. They didn't allow swimming after that. They changed the rules for the next year.
That's so funny. But we did win. That was the first time we won. And
How
then-
about
yeah.
and you had some success since then?
Yeah, I've gone back. I've done the 2-person with my daughter. We've gotten medals in our age group. By the way, when you compete with a really young child, it lowers your age quite a bit, which
So
is
there's
actually a
better
good thing.
competition?
Which is actually a good thing. And but then in Kansas one time I was on another 4-person team, won the Moga Cup, and then this year, Tony, 2026, old Josh was a part of a 4-person team. And I take very little credit for that because the moment I arrived to the event, these 3 young 20-somethings come up to me and they said, "Hey, we need a 4th person." And I go, "Oh, really? Okay. Like, how? What do you think your chances are of winning?" And they said, "Well, we won last year, so I think it's pretty good." And immediately I said, "I'm in."
Heck yeah, I'm in. Chance to get the victory again.
Okay, so not only did they compete in geocaching competitions and do very, very well, but they have also competed for a spot in something that all of you listeners have heard of. So, Josh, now that the non-disclosure agreement has expired for all of our families, by the way, why don't you explain what TV show you guys almost ended up on?
Because this is your connection that started this.
Yeah, this is like the coolest thing, one of the coolest things in my life, and one of the biggest disappointments
Yeah,
in my life. All
I'm
in
with you.
one thing. Yeah, I would. The Amazing Race reached out to me to
Producers,
to be a part of season 30.
the champions.
Yeah, the Champions series or season. And I was asking myself, they're like, "What? Amazing Race is a partner. You have to have a partner." I was like, "Okay, who would be the perfect partner for the Amazing Race?" And sure enough, Tony, you were the first person I called.
And how long did it take me to answer yes or no?
Seconds, a millisecond.
Because we do watch the show.
I
We
know.
are faithful watchers.
You guys are fans of it. And so, long story short, we went to Hollywood for a week. We were sequestered to a hotel. They gave us all our shots for all the countries that we were going to be going to. They were going to send us home the first night because they were like, "I don't know if we can explain geocaching to
Yeah, they
the people."
canceled us. They said you're out.
Yeah, and we
said,
convinced
"No,
them
no, no, no."
otherwise.
Yeah,
They kept-
salesmanship took over. We said, "You just don't understand. Give us a shot to explain it to the producers again." Yes. We got back in front of them, and they're like, "Oh,
Yes.
But wait, you got back in front of Phil.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Phil, and all of the executive producers."
We went all the way.
And we got them to give us another chance. Do you remember what we told them?
Yes.
Because of who we are as geocachers, trying to figure out puzzles and whatnot,
Yes.
we sat in our room and sequestered. Now, we had seen other people. We didn't get to talk to anybody.
No.
Because you weren't allowed to say one word to anybody.
But we realized it was kind of a pseudo-celebrity
Yep.
season.
And we were the geocachers.
and we were there. Nobody knew the heck we were.
Right. But we figured out who all but one other team was.
Yes.
Just by, I recognize them. They're tall. They look, and we figured out there was X game athletes. There was NBA All-Stars. There was Joey Chestnut, eating champion. There was music groups. There was, and we
NASCAR race drivers or
IndyCar, Formula One.
Yeah, yes.
So when we got in front of the producers, we said, "All right, hey," they said, "Well, what is geocaching? What do you go?" Well, we don't have to, really worry about competing against anybody else because we already know that we can beat everybody here.
Yeah.
And they go, "What do you mean?" Like, well, we know that if it's an eating competition, we probably won't want to go against Joey and his team. And if there's a basketball shooting thing, we're not going to go against, these guys, Cedric Sabalos and these guys. Be like, how do you know who the people are? I go, that's what we do. We're geocachers. We solve puzzles. Puzzle caches and different things, which is another kind of geocache. Yes. And they were like, you're not supposed to know who any of these people are. And then they started to realize, we got a problem here. They're going to be able to figure this out pretty well.
Yes. And actually, when they told us that we were not on the show, like a month later, which was a huge disappointment, couple reasons why. Number one, they said they had too many male teams. Secondly, they thought we were going to be too good and that they were going to we were going to run away with it. And they didn't sense that we had enough conflict in our friendship.
We didn't have enough friendship conflict. But they also said the thing is that, the one that we've solved puzzles and we can do all this, that we also might be more competitive because these are famous people. They have been catered to their whole lives. Yes. And you and I are like, the struggle is real. We're gonna try our hardest, and they're like, where do we get on our next flight for this challenge? You know, like asking.
We were motivated.
Very.
Well, and you're expert navigators.
Yes.
And like that's what you do. You find things in places and you're adventurous already. So you're going to be able to do all the challenges. Yeah, you would have kicked some serious butt.
Well, think about that. We use maps 24/7 for
Yes.
geocaching. We know how to get to and from anything.
Yeah.
And they've been driven around their whole lives.
Exactly. So, yeah, but it would have been a lack of drama probably for their season if we would have just ran away with it and won all the prizes.
So they did tell us that we were the alternate and we were the last team cut. And that was disappointing because we were kind of hoping we were going to get a call that we were right before they were leaving to go on their trip that we would get the call.
Yeah, that we would get to be there while they took off. They do that on Survivor all the time. Alternates make it all the time.
And we had a 5-year do not talk about it. Yes. And that's up now. So,
yeah.
But if they're listening, hey, we're still here.
We're still alive.
We're still ready to go.
And more available.
And Josh, I appreciate you because people say to us all the time, like, oh, you guys would be perfect on The Amazing Race. You should do that together. And I'm like, oh, heck no. We would probably kill each other.
Yeah.
And Tony wouldn't be able to decide if he's going to let me navigate or if he's going to be the person who actually has to drive the car because he would want to do both.
Yeah, I probably would do both and just tell you to be, right next to my side supporting me.
Yeah. Let me just tell you, it wouldn't have ended well. So
no, I would have looked like a jackass on television.
I'm happy to let you have him for The Amazing Race. So if that comes around again, there's no competition for my part. But okay, so anyway, geocaching has given you guys a wonderful and a unique friendship and has given you all these fun opportunities. But Josh, you have really scaled geocaching up to an international level.
Yeah.
So tell us more about how geocaching has become such a big part of your life and what have you done and how has it enriched your travel?
Yeah, I've had so many opportunities because of geocaching and because of documenting my geocaching adventures. I've been to Germany 8 times in the last 7 years.
And I remember when you hadn't traveled at all.
I know.
And you were like,
yeah.
I get to go on a trip. I'm back on your first one. You're like, I get to go to Germany, some guy over there and blah, blah, blah.
It's amazing. Yes.
We've barely been to Germany at all, hardly.
Right.
Yes. I'm friends with a man named Daniel Flieger who is a German geocacher who owns a geocaching business. And a part of his business is he runs a geocaching travel agency,
Cool.
where he sends geocachers all over to different locations all over the world, and he hires tour guides. And so I've been on a couple of these tours. I've been to a Pacific Northwest one where I got in a bus with 38 Germans in a coach bus and found all the oldest caches in the Pacific Northwest.
That's fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was like 10 days.
And you're the famous celebrity that goes along with them.
Yes, they were a little skeptical about me at first because it was a bunch of Germans. So, but I won them over pretty quickly.
Did you say, I'm here also, V?
Yeah. Yes. I got to go to Brazil to with that touring group as well as I did a 2-week tour in Germany, bringing Americans to them. So instead of having Germans go out, I brought a bunch of Americans to Germany for 2 weeks to tour because Germany has the most geocachers per capita, and it's a pretty amazing place to.
Really?
Yes, pretty amazing place to geocache. Yes,
Wow.
per capita. Yes.
So what would you say that geocaching adds to the travel experience that just traditional sightseeing doesn't?
Yeah, it makes your sightseeing more like an adventure, and it really kind of gamifies it too. So I think some of the most amazing geocaches, and I know we're going to probably get to this, there's different types of geocaches, are virtual geocaches, because a virtual cache is simply the coordinates will take you to a location, but it's not a proper place to hide a container. So like,
You can't do one there.
yeah, because it could cause alarm to find a strange,
like if you're in the middle
box.
of the Smithsonian,
Yes.
you're not hiding a geocache.
Exactly.
But you might want to bring somebody there, so you make a virtual inside the Smithsonian, and you can say, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, and then you get to see, or you get to log it as a find.
Yes, and find an answer to a question or something like that. And it helps you be a little bit more curious about the locations, because a lot of people, they go to a place and they'll be like, oh, there's the Eiffel Tower. But they aren't forced to necessarily learn something about it. And so it kind of forces you to like dig in a little bit deeper about where are you and what's special about the location.
Okay, one thing, like I mentioned something, I'm like, God, it's so it's so ingrained in us, we take it for granted. When you find a geocache, what do you do?
Oh, good question.
We should probably, people go and like, okay, I went out and found it. Now what do I do?
Yes, for sure. So first of all, a lot of people ask, what geocaching app should I choose, first of all? And I know we're backing up a little bit there, but that is a big question because there is more than one. It can be really confusing. You put geocaching...
There is only one. There can be only one.
You put geocaching in the App Store, you're going to get a lot of results. Right. But I always suggest that new players always start with the official geocaching.com app. Correct. Because that app is designed to teach people how to find their first geocache as soon as they log in and do it. So essentially, you're there, you hit navigate. It'll either show you a map of your location or it'll show you like a compass and it'll show you how far away it is. You walk to the location. You get within 10, maybe 20 feet, 15 feet. Typically put down that phone and start looking around and thinking, okay, if I was to hide something here, where would I hide it? And you start looking around, and then
geosenses.
Yeah, which takes a little bit of time to develop actually, because I remember my first one was easy, but then I looked for some more difficult ones, like a fake stick. I was like, "What? There's fake sticks? Yes, there's fake sticks."
Imagine 500 sticks on the ground, and one of them has a container inside of it. It's a fake stick, but they all look the same. Yes. That can take hours, if not days, to find.
A stick or a log?
Both, like sticks, like
or a rock. In a rock pile.
In a rock pile. Many of those.
Yeah. Anyway, it can be pretty difficult. But then once you do find the geocache, you open it up. And the one rule that a geocache has to have inside of it, and that is the logbook. So you have to sign the physical logbook. Essentially, that proves that you were there in a very analog way.
And they can be various in forms of how you sign. Like I've seen one be a magnet. Yep. Where you just signed the back of the magnet and it was flush on metal. Right. And you've seen 1,000 different kinds.
Yes.
But people get very creative in how you sign something.
Yeah, for sure. Most of the time it is some sort of piece of paper. You sign it to prove that you found it. If there is something in the cache that you'd like to trade or trade with, the rule is that you trade for something of equal or greater value. I remember when my kids were little, they had their little cute little geocaching bag with their McDonald's toys, just in case there was something that they wanted to trade in it.
McDonald's was perfect because everybody got them with their Happy Meals,
for sure.
And then they didn't want to play with them after about 4 minutes of playing with one.
Yes.
So they would take it to a geocache and find something cooler and put their Happy Meal toy inside.
Yes, for sure. It's so fun. And then after you've done that, you close it all up, and the key is that you hide it in the exact same spot where you found it.
Better than you found it if you can.
Yeah, if you can. You don't want to move it though. You don't. Geocaches can move around it, and then it's not the place where the person intended it for it to be. So
well, then the coordinates get off, and that gets a little tricky. But let's also make sure that everybody knows that you want to do these kind of sneakily. Depending on where this geocache is hidden, it might be in plain sight and there's a lot of people around, or maybe you're in the woods by yourself. But either way, you want to be kind of sneaky about it and make sure that nobody's watching you, that nobody who doesn't know what you're doing is going to come back to that spot after you've left and then steal whatever it was they just saw you do.
What do we call those people?
We call them muggles.
And if you know Harry Potter, you know why they're called muggles.
Right. Yeah. So muggles are the ones that might just, hey, I saw that person digging in that tree, and then later they come back and they look in that tree and they take it and they go home, and now the geocache is missing forever.
There's a little bit of a balance of that nowadays. I think back in 10, 15 years ago, I used to be a little bit more sneaky about that, but nowadays geocaching is a little bit more mainstream, that if anybody sees me or I notice somebody seeing me being curious, it's a great opportunity to introduce them to what geocaching is. Or you'll just say, have you ever heard of geocaching? And right away, usually I'd say 80% of the time now, like, oh yeah, I've heard of it.
But we're like-minded on this. We are open to doing that, but there's a lot of people that are not comfortable talking to strangers at all, let alone somebody of maybe authority or somebody that's questioning them about what they're doing, where they're doing it. So you and I would easily talk to people about it.
Right.
Okay, well, you briefly mentioned, so I think we should go in and talk a little bit more about the different kinds of caches, because you briefly mentioned a virtual. So let's talk about the other different kinds as well.
And just a quick backtrack for about 15 seconds. When you log the logbook, you then go online and you log it online to let the owner and anybody else that's looking in the future for that cache to know that, hey, there's a written document online on that cache page saying, so-and-so found it on this date, and here's my little log, and tell you, I really had a great time hiking through the woods or whatever. And then that leads the next person going, wow, has this cache been found in a long time, or is it missing? Right. So let's say people can't find it 2 or 3 people in a row.
Yep.
then the cache owner has to go out and maybe do some maintenance to go see if something's wrong with it. Maybe it's missing. Maybe somebody stole
A
it.
squirrel kicked it.
Squirrel kicked it out of the...
That happens all the time.
Yeah, all the time. So that's the part of the maintenance from the cache owner who hid it. They have some responsibility as long as it's still out in the wilderness or wherever it is, city, wherever. They have to keep control of it. So
Yeah, and most people nowadays do just log it right on their phone. You can go home and log it on your official laptop if you want to do it that way. But most people nowadays, they even just they dictate their experience right there in the field.
And when you do that, for a lot of people, geocaching is about the numbers.
Yeah.
And they want to know how many they find and where they found them, and they track everything. The statistics pages on geocaching.com is awesome. Like every cache you've ever found, where it was found, when you found it, what days, time frames between different, finds, everything. It's really kind of fun.
Yeah, and the cool thing too is one of the things I love about it is that you get digital souvenirs. So
you're big into this.
For every state, every country you've been to, if you go to an event, big events, you get these. And basically, it's just like a little badge for your profile. And what I love to say about souvenirs, and this is connected to travel, it's souvenirs that you don't have to dust.
Yeah.
Or pay for.
Exactly.
Actually, okay, so before we get into the different kinds of caches, we should also mention that also inside of these caches, there may be little trinkets for kids, but there also might be geocoins or travel bugs and things like that. I can't believe we almost forgot to mention that.
We're going deep now.
Because that's something that's actually really exciting for people who travel and like to see. Like we did this with our Girl Scout troop one year. Yeah. Each Girl Scout had a little travel bug, and they got to place it in a cache, and they got to see. They put a mission on each of those travel bugs, and it went around the world to do different things, and it's so cool. So why don't you guys talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of if you remember the old book, the kids' book with the flat Stanley, where the people would take the flat little guy and they'd mail him out, and they'd have him have goals around the earth. Like
this is digital.
Yeah, and now this is digital. So a trackable item is something that has a trackable code that is connected to the geocaching.com system. So essentially somebody creates a trackable or a geocoin, an actual coin can have this number as well, and they would log it onto the website, and they would say, this is my trackable, maybe attach a toy to it. I don't know, like a McDonald's toy or a keychain or something like that. And then they would say, okay, the goal of this trackable is to get to Italy, for example. And then you put it in geocache, and the idea is somebody could find it, they can put the number in the geocaching.com system, and they can say, oh my gosh, this trackable needs to go to Italy. Well, I'm not going to Italy, but I'm going to New York, and I'm putting a geocache close to or I'm going to a geocache that's close to the airport. So I'm going to move it along. And then the owner of that trackable can watch it on the geocaching website, just travel from place to place to try to get to its goal. And I've had trackables that I've sent out that have made its goal and made it home. Now, let's be honest, they sometimes and often do go missing, but I've had really cool success stories with sending them all over the world.
I have a very funny one. I have a lot of them. I have one that has over 200,000 miles traveled.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So it's been all around the world. But I've had many that I've had racing. Like I placed 2 in Sweden and said, first one home. And then the 2 coins separated.
Yes.
And one of them did make it back before the other one.
Yes.
That kind of stuff into one of my home caches where I lived. And so that's kind of fun. Or when you send them to a destination. I have one in my possession right now that's going to Europe with me because I'm leaving in 4 days. And I'm taking it over there because it wants to go to Belgium. I'm not going to Belgium, but I'm going to put it in France.
Yeah.
Okay. But I had one that I had saying, hey, I want this to make it back to me. And I placed it in Dubai. Okay, so this went all the way to Seattle, and then it went missing for 6 years. All right, and I'm like, all of a sudden, someone said, I found this travel bug. It had a little beaver on it and stuff, and it says, I'm now going to send it on its way. It was at a consignment store, somebody had
A thrift store.
A thrift store.
That's amazing.
And put it up for sale, and the guy bought it. It had the tag on it with the little toy, and he bought it because he was a geocacher and he knew exactly what it was right away. So he bought the thing from a thrift store,
amazing,
and then put it back into circulation, and it made its way back to me.
That's amazing.
That was a crazy.
I hope someday I find one in the thrift store. That'd be so awesome. And another cool thing about travel bugs too is that. Especially great for people that love to travel. A lot of times people put the goal that they want to take pictures along the way. So you're kind of like through the travel bug, you're living through its adventure as it's taking pictures, pictures being taken of it all around the world, which is kind
or
of
if
scratch
you
that travel bug.
Can't travel, then you get to see your geobug do it for you. It's kind
Exactly.
of cool. And I think one time we even placed one or sent one out thinking we were going to hopefully pick it up when we got to
We
that
said
destination.
we knew like a year in advance. We said,
Yeah.
hopefully this can make it there before
So
we
you
get
can
there.
get there.
Yeah, and pick it up ourselves.
I love that.
I took one with us over the last couple of years. I said, the person said, I just want to see this bug go as far as possible. So like I had a whole bunch of trips planned all over the world, and we're like, yeah, this one's going to stay with me. And what I did was when I went to a geocache, I just marked on there that it visited.
Yes.
Took a picture, showed it in this country, in this country, in this country. And the person that owned that travel bug was like, holy moly, this thing has been everywhere.
I know.
And they loved it. And then I finally set it free because I was done for a while, and I let it go.
Yeah, they live
I mean, you could
vicariously
keep it
through you.
forever, but
Yeah, but that's not the intention. I mean, I just knew I was going to get a bunch of countries for it, light up the country. So
okay, so when you're doing these caches, you can learn all about history and geology and the earth. And so let's talk about the different kinds of caches and explain what they are, because it's really evolved a lot from the beginning of geocaching.
Yeah, for sure. So the most basic geocache which would be considered a traditional cache, which is just simply one location, one container, one spot, one area. That would be the most common, and they're signified by a little green box. There are also multi-caches, which essentially means you go to one location, you'll get a hint or clue to go to the next. They could be. I've done a 32 stage multi-cache.
That sounds like a lot of time.
In Central Park. Took us all day, but it was amazing.
You saw cool things in Central Park that you
Yes,
never would have seen unless you were on this geocache.
Totally. So that's a multi-cache. There are mystery caches, or some people call them puzzle caches, which is essentially you would work on maybe some puzzle at home. So every geocache has a cache page, and there's like a puzzle, and then you have to solve for the coordinates, and then you find it.
So my mother and some other friends, they solved them all winter long.
Yeah, smart.
Because they're tied up in home, and a lot of things are covered in snow in the winter up in the north here. And they do hundreds and hundreds of puzzles over the winter because it's something fun.
Yeah.
And then when spring comes, they've got all of the hidden coordinates for these puzzle caches, and
they
then they go out and just find puzzle caches because they've solved them all over the winter time.
Yeah, I love that. There's earth caches. So these are it's a virtual location, but you have to answer some sort of question about location. Usually it's about rocks or waterfalls or geology. Yes. There are. Go ahead.
Well, historical caches. Yeah. Every cache has a description on their page, but some people love to just say, "Hey, I'm bringing you to this small town or to this monument or whatever," and then. Yeah, they may have a little container, but it's mostly they want to tell you and give you history about something.
Exactly.
And there's a huge write-up. I've learned so much about our country and traveling just by stopping and looking at the geocache pages.
Yeah, for sure. I mentioned virtual caches, which is again like earth caches, but doesn't have to do with geology. You usually have to answer a question about the location or just take your picture there. It's usually in a place where a physical cache cannot be placed. And then there's over the last 10 years, there's a new type of geocache called Adventure Labs. It's a completely separate
He just
app.
made air quotes like you could see it, but so
Adventure
for the visual, he just made air quotes on it.
Yes. And basically it's like a virtual geocache, but it's a separate app. And usually there are 5 to 10 stages, and it'll take you on they're themed around an adventure. So maybe like a downtown of a village would have a 5-stage adventure lab. You'd go there and you'd answer questions. Sometimes it's multiple choice. And then for each stage, you essentially get a find for your geocaching profile. But it's really cool. It's like a little higher tech, I think, technology for a more official way to do like a virtual that's not just like, take a picture and send the information to the owner of that owns it.
They're challenging.
Yeah, they can be.
So we recently did an Adventure Lab cache when we were in San Marino.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah,
on that
and
episode.
at the time when we mentioned on the podcast, like nobody knows what this is, but that's okay. The people who know will know, but now we're having the opportunity to talk about it. But it was a way to walk around that beautiful town of San Marino and learn more about its history and the places that it took us to, we probably were not going to find on our own. Right. And the buildings that we were looking at, we didn't know what they were, but that kind of explained some things. So it was and it wasn't very long. I don't know, it took us a half an hour or something, but it was just enriched our time in that city. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't a specific tour that we could have taken that was going to show us those independently different things.
Exactly.
So it's very cool. And whenever we go somewhere, we always look like, what kind of geocache is in the area, because maybe it's going to introduce us to something that we wouldn't have found.
Yeah, so. Geocaching and Adventure Labs, especially Adventure Labs, they really can serve as a tour guide. which is really cool, and a free one at that. So I always think geocaching is the best tour guide. Adventure Labs are really good at that because usually it's a themed adventure around a certain location.
So right about now is when I start thinking about the Venn diagram. Do you know what I'm talking about? Geek, dork, and nerd, and where we all fall in that.
Somewhere
and
in the
I'm going to
middle.
say somewhere in the middle, but mostly leaning towards the geek side because we got electronics, we got a bunch of things. But so on historical ones, and we talked about events a little bit. When we go to these events, yes, they might be themed around something, and some of them are historical. Like there's a Guy Fawkes, like one of our friends used to hold all these events called the Guy Fawkes event.
Okay.
And if you know who Guy Fawkes is, probably not. Do you know who he is?
I don't remember, but I've heard
Okay,
his name.
so Guy Fawkes, 1605. You don't remember because it's a long time ago. So 1605, the Gunpowder Rebellion he was going to blow up Parliament in London because he was he was mad at the government, and he was underneath Parliament with like 60 or 30 barrels of gunpowder, and he was going to blow up all of Parliament with members in it.
Oh, wow.
They caught him underneath. He has a very unique look to himself. He's got that really fancy mustache and the little tiny goatee beard, and he became the poster child for everything against England, and he was the the person that was in trouble.
Yeah.
He was the only one that got caught, really.
Yeah.
Other people masterminded, but he was the guy. Over 400 years now, he's become a sign of rebellion, and people have made masks about him. Oh. And if you have all seen the mask for V for Vendetta, which has also become the face of Anonymous, the hacking group. So you know that white mask
Yes.
with the pencil thin?
Yes.
That is Guy Fawkes. So every year, our friend was having an event celebrating rebellion, Guy Fawkes Day. And we would have all these lit up lanterns all around like gunpowder, and it would be at night, and it was really fun.
That
And
is fun.
That's the geeky kind of side that people have fun with it. Let's just
Yes.
have some cool events.
For sure.
Okay, so let's share some stories from travel, like some other memorable caches that you found or thought were really cool. Let's share a few other ones that were memorable.
Josh?
I think one that really comes to mind is a geocache called the Project Ape geocache.
Oh, I did some.
Yes. So, back in 2001, the original the remake of the original Planet of the Apes movie came out with Donnie Wahlberg. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
It wasn't that great of a movie. But
They publicized it well.
Yeah, geocaching.com was reached out to by 20th Century Fox, I believe, to hide these very special ape. Sorry, I'm doing
APE, quotes, more quotes.
Yeah, doing Planet of the Apes geocaches, and in each of these geocaches, they had actual movie props from the Planet of the Apes movie, and I believe
They were hard to get.
Yeah, they were pretty remote, and you need to remember this was early on in geocaching, so we're talking 2001. But they decided to hide these huge ammo cans, so we're talking
Like 2 feet by 3 feet, kind of like huge ones. Yeah.
Yes, and they put them all over the world. As you can imagine, these geocaches quickly started disappearing. But there were 2 that lasted.
Number 8.
There was one in near the
Outside
Seattle
of
area
Seattle,
in a tunnel. That one
We found that one.
Yeah, found that one. It's been stolen. It was found again. It's there. It's a really cool. I've visited there maybe 3 times. It's kind of like
On your tour?
Yeah, it's kind of it was on the tour. It's kind of like a holy grail of geocaching.
Yep.
But so that one's cool, but it's not quite as exotic as the one that's in the middle of the rainforest of Brazil.
Whoa.
So I went on tour with Cache Horizon, which is the travel agency that I talked about earlier, and went down there with 5 other German geocachers and 1 Swedish guy. And we went down there for one geocache. And it's in the middle of, it's a state park down there. And there's nothing really special about the geocache other than the fact that there's only 2 of these ape caches in the world, and to be able to say that you have found both of them it's very Indiana
it's
Jones.
rare air.
Yes, very Indiana Jones-ish, and it's pretty darn exotic because we were looking at the cache page photos of the people that had found it briefly before us, and the last person that found it, there was a viper snake sitting on top of it when they found it. So that tells you the kind of area. It was very remote. It was a state park in Brazil that is really known for birding.
Nice.
So it was a bunch of geocachers out there and birders, pretty much.
By the way, 3 things. 1, saw a rattlesnake wrapped around a cache one time. Didn't find that one. Yeah. I took a did not find.
Yeah, DNF.
DNF, did not even attempt to get it. Secondly, birding. You mentioned birding. So listeners, if they follow this, they know I'm a birder.
Yeah.
Birding evolved off of geocaching.
It's very similar.
It is in a lot of ways. So geocaching was always about the search. It's not about finding the geocache. No. It's not about what's inside the cache. It's the search. It's going out on this adventure and finding it. They're always stationary. You know the geocache is in X spot. Got very good at it. We've done it all over the world.
Yeah.
Birds move. They're much harder to find.
Yeah.
So when
and it's random.
Right. So, well, no, I mean, you got to know their habitat.
Yes,
you got to know
true. That's true.
You're not going to find certain birds in certain trees. Right. So if you're looking for a certain bird, you need to know a lot about it and the ecology and stuff. So.
Right.
You definitely thrive off having a quest.
Yes.
Like that's very important to you. I think one of the ones that I thought was the most interesting in the world was actually, well, it was a real cache. It was like a box, but it was hidden in an urban park in Stockholm.
Okay.
And we were there with our friends, some foreign exchange students that used to stay with Tony, and then his mom and his sister. And we're in this urban park, and there was a lot of people there. It was a fountain in the middle, and there was a lot of people there. And we realized that we found the cache in the crotch of the sitting statue. And we're like, how are we going to get that without
way up in
looking totally awkward that you're grabbing the crotch of the statue?
Funny.
So we kind of circled around it and made a group, and like we were all taking photos. And his mom like reached behind her and up into the crotch of the statue to get the cache box
That's on film.
that we could pull out and then sign, the log and everything. And it was absolutely hysterical because we had to be sneaky. Didn't want anybody to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it was just a very awkward, thing to get. But I will never forget that because we were all laughing so hard. It was a fun one.
That cache is called Propeller Guy, and that's been 20 years, and I remember the name of that cache. That's called Propeller. The cache name was called Propeller Guy because he was holding a prop. It was a boating community. It was a prop from a boat kind of thing. So,
yeah. Another international adventure was I had an opportunity to go to South Korea for work, and I was like, immediately you get the news you're going to another country for work.
Light it up.
First, yeah, exactly. Another country. Awesome.
So before you get into South Korea, what we're talking about is when you go caching and you're about numbers and you're about like acquiring, like finding new locations, you get excited when you get to light up on your map, on your statistics page, a new country, a new state, a new county, whatever it may be, and all of a sudden it's highlighted new colors. So all of a sudden you have a quest of like, I've got 37 states that I've cached in. Mm-hmm. I've got to find one in every state now. And then all of a sudden you're now trying to light up every state or country.
Yes.
How many countries have you got?
Oh, I don't even know because I just came back from the Camino and I got a bunch of new countries. So I haven't
talk about
looked.
that in a minute. Okay.
I haven't looked recently, so I don't know.
I think I've got 33 countries.
You got me beat. You got me beat.
All right, so
but you have a travel podcast, although I do too. But mine's about the U.S. Anyway, but so yeah, I had the opportunity to go to South Korea, and the cool thing about geocaching is that you know somebody everywhere, because I went and looked, and I looked for the most popular geocache in Seoul, Korea.
Explain how that works, by the way, so that you know.
Yes. So every geocache can be awarded by geocachers when you find them. Premium members can award them what are called favorite points. So if a geocache is really great, you can award it a point.
It's a little heart.
Yeah, a little heart. And you can, when you go and look at the app or the website, you can see the geocaches. You can actually rank them by like the best geocaches in certain areas, the ones that have the most favorite points.
Yep,
is that
exactly
basically
right.
So I looked for the most favorited geocache in Seoul, Korea, and I saw it. And as somebody that films geocaching, I always try to make it a practice to let people know that I'm coming, and I'd like to film their geocache. I want to respect their hides, and if they're like, I don't want the spoilers or anything like that, I make sure I have like a conversation. So I reached out to the man that owns the most popular geocache in Seoul, Korea. He was so excited that I was coming, and he's like, yes, awesome, you're coming. Yes, you can film my cache. And then he goes, actually, I would like to just take you around Seoul, Korea. And so I'm there with two other my coworkers. We had the day off, and he comes in and he pulls up to where we are. He says,
free ride.
He says, get in. And he takes us on a tour of the whole city. He walks us to all the great geocaches. And then we get to the geocache, which is at the Namsung Tower, it's a famous tower in the middle of Seoul, Korea. That's where the geocache was. And we get there, and he's hosted now an event for
he put it on an event. So he scheduled, knowing you were coming.
Yeah,
he
knowing I was
scheduled
coming.
Event.
And then there were like 20 people there. Some of them were expats, so it was like half American military people and half Seoul geocachers, native Seoul people. And it was about 20 people. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And he goes, this is what he says. He goes, these are all the geocachers of Korea. And I just laughed because,
There's a few more.
Yeah, there were a few more. But he said, basically, he was like, all the people that I know that are geocachers in the area are here. And it was just so amazing because you know somebody everywhere. So if you're a geocacher and you're going to a new area, you can contact the people. Geocachers are the friendliest people.
Yes, they are.
And and it was funny too because he wasn't confident in his English, but like we spoke geo, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
We understood each other, and he took us out to eat, and we had a traditional Korean barbecue. It was amazing. Yeah.
That is what a wonderful way to make friends and
Totally.
have connections around the world. That's so cool.
I'll give you one that's cultural for me. When we were in Dubai one time, I went out in early morning because I wanted to get a cache. I didn't want to have to try and find a cache in a very urban city with a whole bunch of people watching. So I was out at like 7 a.m. and I was walking along the river and I came across where the cache was, but there was a little waterfront stage right there.
Yeah.
And I'm all by myself, and on the stage was performing at that time of morning. Either they were rehearsing or they were doing something special. A whole act of these men all dressed in white with they were completely covered and hooded and everything with swords, and they were doing this huge cultural presentation of their cultural dance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was 20, 30 feet away from me, and I'm digging in bushes, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? They got to be wondering what I'm doing, but they didn't
Right.
care. They weren't paying attention.
Right.
But it was I sat there for a while and watched it. It was really, really neat.
That's cool.
I have zero recollection
You
of
didn't
that
go with
story.
No, you were back in the room sleeping.
But I don't even remember the story.
Oh, well, I maybe never told you. I don't know.
What? That's wild.
I have one more brief story, international geocaching story. I was on a tour with the Americans in Germany and Austria. Our trip ended in Vienna, and Vienna is about 20 miles from Slovakia.
Yeah.
And I was with another geocacher, and he had been there. And he goes, Josh, he's like, you're close. You got it. It's like we didn't have a car, so we hired an Uber.
I've done it.
And literally we had to translate. He didn't know a lick of English. Literally said, we play a game called geocaching where we're looking for boxes and we need to find one in Slovakia. Please take us to Slovakia. And then when we get there, don't leave because we need to ride back to Austria. And we showed it to him, and he just kind of laughs and shakes his head. And sure enough, he took us right to the Iron Curtain. So the old Russian, that's right to the border. And we found the geocache, and then got back in the car and went back to Vienna in an Uber.
All right, so I got one last one. This is probably one mishaps kind of thing. Like maybe things happen when you don't expect them on geocaching. We were in South Dakota in a Winnebago, and for geocaches, one kind of fun thing we do is we like to find the oldest ones, the most rare ones.
Yes.
Well, the oldest one in South Dakota was way out in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, I want to get the South Dakota oldest cache. This is back 20 some years, when it was first came out in 2001 or 2, 3, whatever it was. So I got my wife and my 2 daughters, and we took this this Winnebago down onto Little House on the Prairie rutted, dirt.
Yeah.
But with
Gravel
ruts.
ruts,
Ruts in the grass. And we were a half mile in. We were getting close. We were only another mile away from it.
Okay.
And we came across the barbed wire fence. This was a dead end.
Oh, no.
And we're talking little stream on the side. I had to back up a Winnebago for a half a mile to get out because there was no way to turn this thing around.
Wow.
That was stressful.
Yeah.
Okay, what you're forgetting about is the blue pickup truck that was parked there and a guy sitting inside with a shotgun. And
Yep.
we were like, oh boy,
that.
I think we're in the wrong spot. I don't think we're supposed to be here.
We were
Where
on public
in the
land,
heck
public
are
land.
we? And we were very paranoid, and you did have to back that thing up, and you couldn't see where you were going. And that was a very, that was stressful. That wasn't our most successful thing. But okay, so let's move on. So you did mention something a few minutes ago that is a very important thing in both of your lives at the moment. So Josh, you just got back from doing an amazing walk on the Camino de Santiago, and Tony is leaving on Wednesday.
Amazing.
I'm leaving in 4 days.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. You guys are like-minded. It's crazy.
So let's go back months, probably 5 months
February.
ago. February. And Josh and I are getting together because we're also Survivor geeks, and we wanted to go find the Survivor challenge that was in Minnesota. And he and I got together for breakfast, and we were going to go try and get on Survivor and win tickets out to LA. And we're these kind of people.
Totally.
Anyway, so Josh and I are having breakfast, and mind you, for like a year, I've been planning on going on the Camino. I've got hotels and certain things already planned out, my airfare, where I'm going, what I'm doing. And I'm all excited to tell Josh about what I got coming up this summer for my adventure. And Josh comes in, and what do you say to me? You go,
I said, hey, I'm going on a trip. I'm really excited. I don't know if you've heard of it.
and he goes, I'm going on the a thing called the Camino de Santiago, where you walk across Spain and all this. And he tells me, and I let him go. And I just let him go for like 2
smiling.
minutes.
Yes.
And I'm smiling, and he goes, and I'm just so excited about it. I wanted to tell you, I thought you'd get a kick out of it. I said, Josh, I leave on July 1st, and I've got my first 5 nights of hotels in albergues already booked.
Yeah.
He's like, what? And sure as, we are simpatico and like this because you then planned yours and you went, and how was it?
It was unlike any experience I've ever had in my whole life. It was an amazing journey, physical challenge. It was a beautiful international experience where I've met people from all over the world. It was a spiritual experience in that, you had to go back and listen to the episode about it.
And we're going to do maybe an episode with you when I get back a
Yes.
couple months from now where we actually do that.
Yeah.
So we might be talking about this in the future as well.
Yeah, there were moments that were challenging. There was moments that stretched me, but it was an opportunity for me to completely close my laptop. I was gone for 6 weeks. It took me 4 weeks to walk it, but I gave myself a little bit of a buffer. And it was an opportunity just to clear my head and just be in tune with myself and listen to myself and just see what the universe had for me. And it delivered. It was really, really special.
So before you left, I gave you a challenge. Do you remember?
Yes. You said hide something for me.
Because being geocachers, and that's how we know each other, I said, you're going to be on this long walk. Why don't you hide something from me that I have to find when I come through in a couple months?
Right.
And what did you do?
Well, there is a geocache hidden for you.
Oh,
it was actually, I'm trying to get it published, but it
I
hasn't.
thought it was just going to be the bottle. Good, do tell.
No, there is a geocache that I have hidden, but the problem is I'm struggling to get it published. It's outside of a hostel, an Italian hostel. And I had them fill out a form. They're really excited because I went into this hostel and they have my email address and they saw Geocaching Blogger. And when I walked in, they were like, geocaching. They're like, we're geocachers. I'm like, oh my God.
They can host it. They can host
I know.
it.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, will you be willing? I would hide it. Could you host it? And you look at it. They're like, yes, we would love to have a geocache outside of our hostel. So I hid it there. It's in place. It hasn't been published because the Spain reviewer is giving me a hard time. I even had them fill out a form. I've done all the rules and I'm struggling. But the thing is, Tony, it is still there. So you can still find it. I have the coordinates.
All right. So even if it doesn't get published on the website,
it's still there.
You'll give me coordinates.
Yes,
I
I
will.
will.
Find it. But you also did something else. I thought you only teased me because I thought he didn't hide a cache.
Yeah.
Because normally you have to be within 100 miles of where you hide a cache.
Unless you have somebody to look after it.
Right.
Like
You need to have somebody to do maintenance.
Yeah.
So what did you otherwise say I had to try and find?
There's another place that's basically a brewery kind of like on the way, and they make their own like Camino beer. And as a part of it, there's bottles. The whole area is surrounded by bottles of beer that were drank. It's basically a wall of beer. And after you drink your beer, they give you a marker, like a silver marker to like sign your name. So my challenge was for Tony to find my bottle.
He took a picture of the bottom of his bottle saying the GVC, the Geocaching Vlogger.
Yeah.
Whatever. I maybe got that wrong.
Yes.
And he put it on the wall somewhere. There's thousands of
Yeah,
bottles.
there's so many bottles.
So when I stop at this little stop along the way, I'm going to have to try and find his bottle.
Find my bottle.
And I think I'm up for the challenge.
I made a mistake. I wish I could go back in time and put something in the bottle, a message in the bottle.
Message in the bottle.
Sorry, I thought of that after I was like miles away. I was like, should I go back?
No,
I don't.
Well, Tony could put a message in the bottle, and then you could have that for
Come
the
back.
next person.
Yeah, for you when you go back someday.
Yeah, I want to go back. I'm having a little bit of Camino blues right now because now I'm 2 weeks, since I've been back, and it was such a transformative experience, and it's kind of tricky to come back to your everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we were at lunch the other day, and he's like, I might even think about going back this fall. I'm like, oh my goodness, already.
One of the things that I did that was a little bit, I wouldn't know if it's called a mistake or regret, was that I didn't take one rest day. I walked every single day.
I warned you about that.
I know, but the problem is I did it in May, which is the busiest month. May and September, they say, are the busiest month. It was really hard to find places to stay. So I booked like 10 days in advance. So if I had a rest day, I would have got off, and then I wouldn't have got reservations. So I wasn't getting up early in the morning and rushing to my destination because I had reservations. So that's why I didn't take any breaks.
Okay. So Julie wanted us to do a quick lightning round, maybe one word answers, because we're gonna get one or two
phrase,
one phrase, one.
Okay, it'll be quick. It'll be quick as lightning.
Yeah, we're just gonna buzz through this. So, what is your favorite cache type?
Traditional.
Wow, I thought you were gonna say Adventure Lab.
No, traditional, and then more specific, a gadget cache, which you should look up if you don't know what that is.
Give a. Okay, now
this is lightning round.
You've already opened it.
Tony's terrible at lightning round. We've done this before.
Yeah,
He can't. He has to expound.
Well, you mentioned gadget cache. We didn't mention that, so just briefly.
Yes. A gadget cache a geocache is easy to find but difficult to get into. Usually it's some sort of puzzle or field puzzle box. It's almost like an escape room but reverse. And instead of trying to get out, you're trying to get into the geocache in a really creative puzzle sort of way.
Coolest one you ever did? Maybe down Back to the Future.
Yes, there's some amazing
Just
ones.
explain that in a nutshell. How amazing these are.
Yeah, so here's
guy's yard.
Okay, here's an example. One in Germany. I'll try to be really quick about it. The geocache is in front of a store that is like an REI sort of outdoor store. You can see the box. The geocache box is locked up. It's on the wall. You have to figure out the padlock code to get in. The cache page says, call a phone number. You call the phone number. You're like, why did I call this phone number? But then you look into the window of the store and there's a mannequin. And the mannequin, robotically, you've activated her arm to lift up her arm, and on her belly is written the code of the padlock and then that's how you get it open.
Come on, that is so cool.
I know.
That kind of reminds me of like our love of speakeasies.
Yes, totally.
So speakeasies, we've talked about this before, how we have to go even find our bars.
Yes.
We want that unique challenge of trying to find something.
Yes.
So whether it's a bird, whether it's a cache, whether it's a bar, we want to go hunt them down.
And now people listening and hearing that description now understand why we're into geocaching.
Yeah.
This is exactly
amazing.
right up our alley.
Yeah, it's a whole new cool world.
Okay, mine are, I like the traditional caches, but I don't want to have to solve puzzles. The only time I ever find puzzle caches is if somebody else solves it and I go with them.
Right.
So one day, okay, this is my lightning round. I'm going to go real slow. One day, I got invited on to a full day, like a 24-hour day of caching. Yeah. It was midnight to midnight. 105 puzzle caches that they had solved.
Oh, wow.
And we were just going to go. I'm like, I get 105 puzzle caches. And by the way, I'm the only one in the group that had all of them unfound, because some of them had 10, 15 of them found. Some of them had 5, some had 30. I was the only one that didn't have any of them. So I was going to get all the finds.
Yeah.
And they were going to get some.
That's fun.
But I was there to help climb and do some other things. And so
you brought value to
I
the
brought
team.
value, but I also got to get all the finds that day.
That's fun. That's fun.
One of the ones that I like the most are the micros. I like the ones that are so small, and usually they're magnetic.
Yes.
And it's like, I know it is on this bench somewhere. It's got to be.
And an hour later, you finally find it.
And then you find it, you're like, oh my God, that's so clever. There are so many smart people out there and have found really cool places to hide things.
Yeah.
And I love a good challenge.
Yes.
I can't stand one that's on like on a lightning, or I'm like on a light post or something. Like those are too boring for me.
Lamp skirts. Okay, now to question 2 of lightning round.
Wow, this is a slow storm.
I think we shouldn't call it lightning round. Okay, how about this? What is one item that every geocacher should carry?
A pen.
If you don't have a writing utensil, you are not a good geocacher, period.
Yeah, we had the same answer.
Absolutely, that's super smart. Okay, what about a dream geocaching destination? Where do you want to go?
Antarctica. So I can say I've found one in every continent.
I'm with you. We're going to Australia and New Zealand in January. I think once we get that, I'll only have Australia left as well. Antarctica. So I'll go with you on that.
Yeah. I'll get to
She
Australia.
has no desire to go. Should we go?
Really?
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yes.
I don't.
Oh
I don't
my
want
gosh.
to. I don't want to cross the passage.
We're bumping knuckles now.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Okay. Cool.
Maybe we should get on a reality show that'll take us there.
Yeah. Right. Call some friends that will take you all around Antarctica or
Yeah.
something. Okay. So you already mentioned Germany, but is that your favorite country for geocaching, or would it be something else?
I have to say yes, because there, I mentioned those gadget caches. So that one I just mentioned, that's in Germany, and there's a lot like that. But honestly, I think the United States is still the best place for geocaching. There's the most geocachers, the most opportunity for amazing geocaches. Actually, Gilby, North Dakota, which is
Which is funny.
5 hours away from here, is maybe the most creative, most amazing geocaches I've ever seen on the planet. And I've been to a lot of places and seen a lot of great caches.
And our geocaching name, no relation. Although
Yeah,
everybody
right.
thinks I'm that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we could take credit. Why not? Okay, so is there a special cache that either one of you still think about today that just like stands out in your memory? And maybe it's because it just was sentimental, or like you just mentioned one that was really cool. But how about you, Tony? Is there one that really stands out?
Sure. I have one from our first 50 caches. Probably I was only about 40 in. My wife, my mother and my sister and I went to Sweden, and we visited the foreign exchange student. And I saw that there was one that was a really cool one, and there wasn't a lot of them back then. This was like 2005. And there was one at the top of a cliff that you had to go hiking up this cliff to get to, and it's over one of the lakes in the southern part of Sweden. Beautiful scenery. So I'm like, let's go to that. And as we were going there, the whole family went with, like his family, Lale, his father, Linus's father, came with us. And it wasn't until we were hiking and then we got there and we started going up this trail, he was like, oh my goodness, I've been here before. When he was a kid dating a girl, he climbed to the top of that peak when he was a teenager. He's now in his like late 60s, early 70s, mid 70s at this point when we're there.
Yeah.
And he's like, I haven't been here since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And he was kind of almost emotional about
Wow.
it. And we climbed to the top and we had the most amazing views.
Yes.
And that was in my first 50 finds, which
Yes.
was
Wow.
to have a view like that and a geocache that took you someplace that there was no trail, like a trailhead. It was like we were on a deer trail. So we were roughing it to get to the top of this peak. You don't go there unless geocaching brings you there. So it was, and the fact that he had been there, really cool.
Yes. That's really hard for me to pick after 11,000
Oh, I'm
geocaches.
sure.
But I have to share two. One's really recent, others not so long ago. The Iguazu waterfalls, the waterfall that's between Brazil and Argentina. It's the most beautiful thing maybe I've ever seen on the planet. You go there and you're like, if you look it up, you're like, this is like a water planet from Star Wars. They're like, is this even real? It put Niagara Falls to shame with its sheer size and mass. And there's a virtual cache there, and I was the first American to find it because it was fairly new. So that was just like, and then we took one of those boats down there and we went into them in the speed boats into the mist. It was awesome.
Wow.
But one that's really sticking out in my mind right now was on the Camino, actually, with another virtual geocache. Tony, I shared this with you. About 2/3 into your walk, there is a place called the Iron Cross. It's a very famous place.
Crucero de Fierro.
Yes, and it is a place typically when people start their walk in France, they pick up a stone that they carry, and they carry the stone to the Iron Cross, and it's supposed to represent some sort of burden or something that you need to let go of. So I carried a stone that was actually given to me by my mom before I left. She goes to carry this stone, and she didn't even know anything about the Iron Cross. I carried this stone all the way with me, and I got there, and it was very emotional. I mean, this is a place where people are putting the ashes of their loved ones. It's just like, it's a really intense place, but it was a virtual geocache. And so I kind of did my business as far as the spiritual, laid my stone down, very emotional, but it was also like a very memorable actual. It was fun to get a smiley there as the tears were streaming down my face.
I will look forward to doing that.
Yeah.
I already got 3 stones I'm supposed to be carrying with me. So.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, that's a beautiful story. I think we should end that with all of the.
That's a good way to close
Yeah,
it.
I think that was a beautiful.
All right, but before we go, Josh, how can people, they're entertained by you? They want to hear more from you. They want to see more from you. How can they find you? How can they see? And you're on everything. So
yes. So I'm Geocaching Vlogger, or the Geocaching Vlogger, everywhere. If you do geocachingvlogger.com, it'll take you right to my YouTube channel. But I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I also co-wrote a geocaching comic book that teaches all about geocaching. You can find that on Amazon or go to geocachingcomic.com. So that's kind of, if you're interested in geocaching, it's a great way to introduce people to it. It's for age 0 to 101. I'm really proud of that. I also, as you mentioned, I do a podcast as well that happens every other week called Treasures of Our Town. And it's all about the places that geocaching brings you. So it's actually a travel podcast because we always say geocaching takes you to the best places. So that's where you can find me.
Okay, so just to give some credibility here, Josh, how many followers do you have on TikTok?
Like 629,000, I think, which is kind of crazy.
He's not this fly by night.
We have
Just about the same, right?
Yeah. Same.
Same. Twins.
All right, so All right. So final thought for us, geocaching and travel, they go hand in hand. And it's about discovery and the experience. It's not about finding the item and getting that item in your hand and actually seeing what's inside of it or trading it something. Right. It's about the search. Yes. So searching, you know what? You don't need a passport to go do this, people. You don't have to go out of the country. There's millions inside the United States. So get out there. It's free exercise. It's good for you. Take your kids. Get them off the couch. Get the phones out of their hands. Well, unless they're needing it to find the cages geocache. But you know what I mean. At least it's to get them out moving and moving their legs and bodies. So it can help you explore and travel in different countries and towns in completely unique and different ways. So you find things that you're not going to find in a tourist guidebook or on a tour, with maybe unless you're with Josh, because that is news to me, but he's actually done that. So that's, you can do this in your backyard. And I will challenge you to go on and get online. I always tell people that they can probably find one guaranteed within 1 mile of their house.
Easy.
Probably within a half, and maybe even within a quarter mile if you live near a park.
True.
So that's pretty close.
Okay, so if you tuned in today, so whether you're listening from your living room or maybe you're on a plane somewhere already or just in your car, but this is your sign, everybody, to go download the geocaching app and go search for your first cache and see where it leads you. We can all guarantee that it's a great way to add interest to your hike, to learn about the world, and then as it happened for us, it just made us very great friends.
So with that, we can't thank Josh enough for joining us, today, because we love getting together with him. He's been a long friend for many years, almost probably 17, 18 years. Mm-hmm. It's always a pleasure spending time together with you. I look forward to when I get back from the Camino, that we get together again and we do a podcast, but not about geocaching, maybe a little bit because I'm going to find that geocache, but more about the Camino and what that is and there's a lot to talk about there.
Yes.
So maybe we'll do that later. But
I'm going to for 10 days.
Julie, now, by the way, if you listen to the other one, Julie's going to join me on the back end of this adventure, and she's going to probably walk with me out to the end of the earth, which is out to Finisterre. And if that's the case, then we're going to Porto afterwards. We got to light up. Light up Portugal.
Light it up.
Josh, please join us as we sign off, and thank you very much. And 1, 2, 3,
wheels up.